I used to think the scariest part of long-haul trucking was drifting off behind the wheel. Turns out, falling asleep isn't the real danger. It's what's waiting in the silence, what runs alongside your rig when your mirrors show nothing, what climbs onto your cab when you're too tired to react. I've driven thousands of miles, seen accidents, fights, even death. But nothing prepared me for what I saw in the mountains. And I think it's still out there. I hadn't posted anything for a while, needed a break. After everything I'd been through the past few years, I thought a solo haul through the mountains would clear my head. No radio signal, no phone service, just the humming of my truck and the open road. It was oddly peaceful, like the world had hit pause just for me. I was finally beginning to feel like I could breathe again. But peace? It's just the quiet before the scream. Hours passed and I realized I needed to relieve myself. Pulled off to the side of the road, killed the engine and stepped out. Cool mountain air, total silence. Not even birdsong. I zipped up and turned. And that's when I saw him. At first I thought it was a man, a massive man standing just beyond the tree line, but something was wrong. Its face, God, that face. It wasn't shaped right. The mouth sat too high, almost between its eyes, and those eyes weren't even aligned. Not human, not animal. It stared, then it charged. Crack, 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 I ran. Heart pounding, adrenaline drowning out every thought. Fumbled the keys, slammed the door, jammed the ignition. The engine roared to life just as the thing burst onto the road behind me. 20 kilometers per hour, then 30. But it was fast, too fast. I risked a glance in the mirror. It had stopped, just standing there, watching. That twisted face now frozen in a snarl. It looked like a man trying to stand like a wolf, like something mimicking humanity and getting it horribly wrong. Another monster for the therapist, another nightmare for the road. Dust settled like a heavy curtain. But the static on the radio started clearing up. My phone buzzed, a signal bar. For the first time in days, I actually smiled. That smile lasted 5 seconds. Because when I turned to the window, it was there, standing atop a rock ridge, still, watching. Then it moved. No, jumped. I floored it. My rig screamed on the incline. It barreled down the hill like a freight train. How the hell had it gotten ahead of me? There were no paths, no roads, just forest and cliffs. I saw it in the mirror, close, too close. Its clawed hand nearly grabbed the back of the trailer. A sharp curve was coming, fast. I took it too hard, but it worked. The thing flew past the guardrail and disappeared into the dark hills. I didn't celebrate. I knew better. An hour later, darkness consumed the road. No lights, no signs, just a creeping thought. I should have reached the main road by now. Pulled out my map. My stomach dropped. I had taken a wrong turn. That stupid wooden sign had been flipped upside down. I'd followed the wrong direction for miles. There was no place to turn around. So I kept going, dread blooming with every mile. And that's when I saw it again, far off. Pacing behind the trees, I finally reached a wide clearing, enough room to turn the rig, threw it into a wide swing and spun the cab around. Just as I finished, I saw it, standing right in the middle of the road, this time closer than ever. Broad shoulders, arms too long, skin pulled too tight, and those eyes, like it hadn't blinked in years. It started walking, fast. I locked the doors, grabbed the keys, started moving. But it didn't run, it stalked, like it knew exactly how scared I was. I hoped it would back off. Instead, it circled around the passenger side. That's when I heard it, scraping, climbing. I reached over, locked the door just as the handle jerked down violently. 1 second later, and it would have been inside. I screamed and floored the gas, but it held on. Thud, thud, thud. It pounded the window with fists like sledgehammers. I don't know what possessed me, but I cracked the window open, just a little. Its fingers darted in. I screamed and rolled it back up, trapping its hand. It shrieked, a horrible human-animal hybrid sound, and fell. I didn't stop. I just drove. Eventually the forest thinned. Lights appeared on the horizon. Cars passed me. Real people. I've never cried harder in my life than I did when I saw a Shell station up ahead. Radio signal came back. Phone had bars. I called my boss, told him everything. He didn't believe a word. Offered me a few days off. Told me to see someone, as if therapy could fix this. I got home, locked every door, every window, double-checked, triple-checked. And as I laid in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, my heart still thumping from the drive, I glanced toward the window. There was a shape, a silhouette, watching. Maybe it was a tree, maybe not. I must have passed out because when I woke up, 16 hours had gone by. I've never taken a mountain route again, and I never will, because some things don't belong in the world of men. Some things wait in the trees, and if you're not careful, they climb into your cab and never leave. If you've ever felt like something was following your truck, you're not crazy. Not everything on the road is human, and some things, they're smart enough to follow signs, even upside-down ones. As a trucker, I travel a lot. I've crossed hundreds of highways, driven through city lights, countryside fog, rain-soaked hills, and lonely coastlines. It's a lifestyle that breeds solitude, just you, your truck, and miles of silence. You begin to enjoy the hum of tires over tarmac and the constant shift of landscapes through your windshield. But traveling this much comes with a price. I've been to places I wish I hadn't, narrow country roads that seem to whisper your name, rest stops that reek of something wrong, places that feel like the world forgot them, and maybe for good reason. You see things too, things that stay with you, flashing in your memory like the glare of passing headlights. Some of those sights are burned into my brain, things I wasn't meant to witness. And some experiences I'd give anything to unlive. But oddly enough, it's those very moments that define who I am today. That's why I love this job. There's a strange thrill in not knowing what's waiting for you at the next turn, a certain freedom in that uncertainty. But let me tell you something about unpredictability. It doesn't care if you're ready. And I wasn't. It was early autumn when I took a load up north, deep into the upper stretches of England. The sky above me was blank, a dull black slate with hardly a star to guide me. My headlights cut through the misty dark like twin spears of light, but still, something about that stretch of road felt muffled, like the world had turned down the volume. I don't know why I couldn't focus. My eyes were heavy, not from sleep, but from something else, something more like unease. I fiddled with the radio just to distract myself. Stations crackled in and out. I finally settled on some static-filled music just to drown out the silence. Minutes passed in this foggy trance. That's when I saw it. It hit me like a jolt, like my eyes suddenly snapped into focus. Right in front of my truck, caught in the stark glare of the headlights, was a body, sprawled out, not moving. Instinct kicked in. I hit the brakes, swerved gently to the side, and brought the truck to a screeching halt. My heart was already hammering in my chest as I jumped out, the crunch of gravel beneath my boots sounding unnaturally loud. I approached slowly, every nerve in my body firing in warning. "Sir?" I called out, my voice barely louder than a whisper. "Are you okay?" No answer. I inched closer. That's when I saw the blood. A pool of it, dark and thick, oozing from beneath him. His shirt was torn near the abdomen, a long, gaping wound clearly visible. A knife wound, no doubt about it. He was already gone. My hands were shaking as I reached for my phone. I dialed 999 and tried to keep my voice steady as I explained what I'd found. The dispatcher was calm, telling me to stay put, that someone would be dispatched to my location immediately. I stood near the body, the wind chilling my bones, when I heard it, shouts in the distance. Then the sound of feet, fast, heavy footsteps pounding against the earth. Two figures emerged from the shadows. I could barely make them out in the dark, but one was carrying a duffel bag, moving with frantic energy. They hadn't seen me yet. That bag, I knew exactly what it was for. Panic surged through me like lightning. I bolted back to my truck, barely aware of my own breath. As I scrambled into the cab, I caught a glimpse of the men reaching the body. One tossed the bag down and sprinted back toward a car I hadn't noticed parked across the road. The second man was running straight for me. He started climbing onto the side of the truck, grabbing the handle and trying to open the door. My instincts took over. I flung the door open with all my strength, slamming it into his face. He let out a sharp cry and fell back hard onto the ground. I didn't hesitate. I slammed the accelerator and peeled away, heart racing like a jackhammer. My mind was in chaos. What had I just walked into? A gang hit? A murder in progress? But just as relief started to settle in, I saw headlights. A sleek black car was gaining on me, fast. No truck, no matter how powerful, can outrun a car like that. But what I had was mass. Wait. I watched the rearview mirror closely, waiting until he was almost kissing my bumper. Then I slammed the brakes. The force threw me forward. I gripped the wheel and braced for impact, but nothing came. The car was gone. I blinked, stunned. Where had he gone? That's when I saw a dirt path veering off the main road, barely noticeable in the dark. Had he taken it? There was no time to stop and check. I floored it again, desperate to put more distance between us. But deep down, I knew it wasn't over. 5 minutes later, as the road curved, I saw it. Two cars parked side by side, blocking the entire lane. Their headlights were off, but I recognized them immediately. It was them. They were waiting for me. My mind reeled. Had I stumbled into something bigger than I could imagine? Why not just flee? Why stay and risk capture or worse? They weren't just trying to clean up a murder scene. They were willing to kill anyone who saw it. I had no time to think. I gripped the wheel tighter, lowered my body slightly, and punched it. The truck roared, and in seconds I was ploughing through the blockade. Metal twisted, glass shattered, and screams echoed into the night. I didn't look back. The police arrived not long after. I was still shaken, my hands trembling as I explained everything. What I saw, what I did. They examined the wreckage, took down every detail, and questioned me for what felt like hours. One of the men had been seriously injured and taken to the hospital. The other, gone, vanished again into the night. Investigators found tyre marks near the blockade. A car had been waiting off to the side, engine running. The escape man had planned his exit well. These weren't amateurs. As it turns out, all three men were part of rival gangs. The man I'd found, dead in the road, was their leader. It was a hit, a planned execution, and I had walked right into the middle of it. To this day, I still curse myself for letting that second man escape. Maybe I could have done more. Maybe if I'd acted faster, smarter, things would have ended differently. But sometimes I wonder, what if he's still watching? What if he remembers my face? What if he's waiting somewhere for another chance? Every now and then, when I'm driving those dark northern roads alone, I feel it. The weight of unseen eyes. The feeling that I'm not quite alone. That someone or something is following just out of sight. And I can never shake the feeling that one day I'll see him again.